First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Pharma India magazine for inviting me to be a part of this critical discussion. And I feel honored to be in the company of Professor Dr. Roshan Kumar, Dr. Vandita, and Dr. Subramania. And I look forward to lots of learning from them. I will do my humble effort in speaking to you about the buzzword of the modern times, sustainability. When we think of HPAPIs, the first words that come to mind are containment, occupational safety, toxicology, and regulatory. And rightly so. Um, these compounds, often with the occupational exposure limits of OEMs in the micrograms or even nanogram range, they require some of the most sophisticated manufacturing environments, not in the pharmaceutical, but also in any industry. But today, I'd like to discuss something that is often overlooked. Um, every decision we make to improve containment also carries a sustainability cost. So the question is no longer, can we manufacture HPAPIs safely? The real question is, can we manufacture them safely, sustainably, and competitively at the same time? And that is becoming one of the defining challenges for the pharmaceutical industry in India today. So let's understand why HPAPI manufacturing is inherently resource intense. This is because every layer of protection required in HPAPIs demands another layer of infrastructure. Let's look at a typical HPAPI facility and see what goes into it. A dedicated containment suite, negative pressure cascades, multiple HEPA filtration stages, extensive PPE, continuous environmental monitoring, single pass HVAC systems, segregated waste streams, cleaning validation. Each of these controls helps in protecting employees. But collectively, they also increase electricity demand, water consumption, solvent use, hazardous waste generation, carbon emissions, and operating costs. Let's take an example. With compared with conventional API facilities, a high-potency suite commonly requires around 30 to 40% higher capital investment, where HVAC alone can consume around 40% more energy because containment area often operate with roughly double the air change rates and single pass ventilation. So more frequent cleaning also increases the hot purified water demand. The industry traditionally accepts this as an unavoidable cost of safety, but I believe the assumption needs to change. So here is where the sustainability cost actually comes from. Most people associate sustainability only with electricity or energy. But really speaking, the environmental footprint comes from five major sources. The first is HVAC. We spoke about it, negative pressure rooms, pressure cascades, high air change rates, temperature and humidity control, HEPA filtration. All of these operate continuously in an HPAPI facility. So HVAC therefore represents one of the largest operational energy loads. The second is cleaning. HPAPI facilities undergo much more rigorous cleaning validation. There's a lot of purified water, hot water, steam, validation cycles, chemicals which are required for cleaning. All of them are consumed after almost every campaign. The third is waste. Disposable gowns, respirators, gloves, cleaning wipes, activated carbon, contaminated packaging. All of this becomes hazardous waste. Now, not only does the disposal cost increase, but the incineration of these also contributes to carbon emissions. Fourth is solvent recovery. So HPAPI synthesis frequently uses complex multi-step chemistry. Without efficient solvent recovery systems, companies will lose valuable material and carbon emissions. And lastly, underutilized facilities. Now, why I say this is because many HPAPI suites remain idle between campaigns because they are dedicated to particular projects. Now, not that this is an operational problem, but this low utilization rate means the facility still continues consuming energy and utility even when it is not finished. Fortunately, we are seeing some industry examples which are counter to this. So an excellent example is a company called AGC Pharma Chemicals. Rather than adding sustainability after construction, they embedded into the facility itself. So their upcoming HPAPI facility has multiple things which are around sustainability itself. They have a facade-mounted solar photovoltaic. They have solar thermal heating. They have steam condensate recovery. They have grey water reuse. They have optimized nitrogen blanketing. They have efficient compressed air systems. And they have low global warming potential refrigerants. Now, all of this while maintaining an advanced containment and GMP. The impact is measurable. Steam condensate recovery alone is expected to save around 1.4 million kilowatt hour natural gas annually. And this means the reduction of emissions by about 250 tons of carbon dioxide each year. Now, this demonstrates that high containment facilities can still achieve substantial environmental improvements without compromising on safety. Another trend that we are seeing across CDMOs is the increasing adoption of closed material handling, automation, robotics, and digital monitoring. Now, while these technologies were initially introduced for operator safety and automation, basically, but today they are also reducing waste, improving process consistency, and lowering the resource consumption. So, while the intent was something else, it is now completely switched. So, what should we do as an HPAPI manufacturer today? We believe sustainability in HPAPI should not be viewed as an environmental initiative. It should come as an operational excellence strategy. Here are the 5 steps. First, we design for sustainability. Retrofitting is always more expensive, so the biggest opportunity exists before construction. I'm not saying that retrofitting cannot be done, it can still be done, but I'm saying strategically what makes more sense. So, first, you should have a containment strategy, facility layout, HVAC zoning, material flow, equipment selection, all have to be optimized together rather than working in silos. Second, measuring what matters. Most HPAPI facilities monitor quality really well. They monitor safety effectively, but very few measure environmental performance at the same level. So what do you need to track? Energy intensity per kilogram of water consumption, solvent recovery, hazardous waste intensity, carbon emissions, and probably HVAC energy performance. Because you cannot improve what you cannot measure. Third, you have to digitalize operations. Real-time monitoring, AI-driven HVAC, predictive maintenance, digital twinning, environmental sensors. All of this allows facilities to reduce their consumption without compromising on the containment or the compliance side. Digitalization is one of the strongest sustainability enablers for pharmaceutical manufacturing, and that is what we found through experience. Step 4, you have to integrate safety and sustainability. Very often, these teams are independent of each other. So, engineering optimizes containment, EHS manages exposure, sustainability measures emissions, operation drives productivity. The future will belong to organizations where all these 4 functions make the decisions together. And every engineering decision has to be evaluated on 4 dimensions. Is it safe? Is it compliant? Is it efficient? And is it sustainable? Once you do that, then you're able to integrate things properly and do well. 5th step, you have to extend beyond the factory head. More and more pharmaceutical companies are being evaluated not only on their own operation, but also on the sustainability performance of suppliers and manufacturing partners. So containment, resource responsible sourcing, energy management, waste management, and emissions all will become part of your supplier qualifications for coming years. So the conversation is very quickly shifting from manufacturing excellence to supply chain excellence at all levels. So I want to leave you with a couple of things. First, the pharmaceutical industry has spent decades building safer facilities. And the next decade has to focus on building smarter ones. Because the future competitive advantage is not going to belong to a manufacturer with the largest containment suite. It will belong to the manufacturer who delivers the safest product with the lowest environmental footprint and the highest operational efficiency, which means safety and sustainability are not competing priorities. They are complementary outcomes of good engineering, good science, and good leadership. So, as HPAPIs continue to power the future of cancer care, immunology, precision medicine, our manufacturing philosophy has to evolve as well, from containment by design to sustainability by design. Um, Thank you so much for your patience, and I'll leave you with three takeaways from today. If nothing else registered, just these three things have to be. First, true sustainability cost of HPAPIs lies in the utilities required to maintain the country, not in the chemistry alone. Second, automation and digitalization are sustainability tools as much as safety tools. And the industry's next benchmark is going to be sustainability by design. So I'm going to stop here and leave it open for any questions that you may have now or later. Thank you so much for your patience.